Hello you guys, welcome back to the channel. Now today, more DIY for me in our tumble down house that we sort of moved into 18 months ago. It's going to be messy, loads more tiles to chisel off and jackhammer off the ensuite room. But before I even have a cup of tea for the morning, I'm going to do a little standalone book review video because we're just a couple of weeks away from Christmas. I'm always getting asked by my family, what do you want for Christmas? I do like a book. If you do love reading books, or you're buying something like a Harris's Hook, or you're getting into Falconry and you want to learn a bit more about it, I'm going to do a standalone video. It was going to be based around some really good recommendations for Harris's Hook books, but I've realised it's actually going to run across now, due to the topic matter, it's going to run across golden eagles, and it's going to run across a bit of falconry and hunting in general that will cover things from redtails, goshawks, golden eagles and Harris's Hawks. But it's a standalone video. You know, if you're watching the Falconry journals, you know that I'm reviewing a book, maybe a book on most of those journals of different things here in my collection. But I think Christmas coming, here's some really good ideas that you can ask people. You're helping them, aren't you? It's not selfish, you're helping them. You can ask people to add to your Christmas stocking that I think, if you love books like I do, you will really, really enjoy. And indeed, in some of them, really learn some stuff. So we're going to jump in. I'll try and keep it concise, give you a little glimmer into this bunch of books. So please enjoy this. I'll see if I can get some other stuff in here, so keep watching, even if it's just links to these books and so on and so forth. But I'm going to have a word with someone, see what occurs. So we're going to go for two authors. Martin Hollisheads, absolutely lovely to read. And this book here, completely different. This book is unbelievable. This book is unlike any other. Everything you need to know about Harris's Hawk, it's in this book. If you fly Harris's Hawks passionately, this book definitely should be on your bookshelf for sure. It's massive. And somewhere in there, if I remember rightly, this was a labour of love. This book, they spent God knows how long writing, and a hurricane destroyed their house and the entirety of their early book, and they had to rewrite all over again. So that's what you call dedication and passion. The Coulsons are real, live, living, active falconers, and this is their legacy to their life and love of the Harris's Hawk. This book is monumental. It covers everything about wild Harris Hawks, their natural history, illnesses and such like, to their breeding of the Harris's Hawk, their training. It is a book to read, whether you train your Harris's Hawks like they do in America, or in a slightly different way, maybe here in the UK. There's so much information in here that will make you a better falconer and a better Harris Hawker, without doubt. It is just a book that will never be rewritten by any other author. I just don't believe anyone would ever have the dedication to write a book this hugely wide and varying. Harris's Hawk, it really is worth, I'll tell you what, it's worth buying just for the actual amount of dedication these people, the Coulsons, have put into writing this book.
Hi there. So Dave has asked us to say a few words about our book. I'm Jen Coulson, and this is
Tom,
and this is Leah, one of the birds we bred. We've been flying Harris Hawks for 40 years, and
at least.
yeah, maybe more for him.
Yeah, it's been a long day. We've been hawking all day. We're at the NAFA meet, North American Falconry Association, and we're in Lubbock, Texas, and we've been hawking hares and cottontails, and the hares are blacktails, and we got
jackrabbits. We call them
jackrabbits. We got 7 yesterday, and only 3 today. It rained all day. We've been hawking in the rain, but having a great time, and You know, our book is about our passion. That's about it. It's just about everything. We're trying to breed better Harris Hawks, and just, you know, for everybody else's enjoyment, including, especially ours. But anyway, I'll let Jen finish this up.
Yeah, well, you know, we've always felt like the Harris Hawk is a complicated bird, and certainly to fly them under social conditions, you really need to understand them well. They're highly adaptable in falconry. They really understand when you are working for them, probably because they have teamwork in the wild. And so we find that a lot of people really underappreciate them or don't get the most out of their birds. And they also, at least here in the U.S., they often train them the way they would train a passage redtail, which can create a lot of behavioral problems. So, you know, we just really thought we have a good system through our many years of experience and a lot of trial and error. And our selective breeding is for birds who have better falconry performance.
This is Leah. She's 14 years old. She's our oldest bird. We're flying 8 at the moment. Youngest is 2, and then we have one 13 to 14, and then a couple of them in the middle. And we might retire her in a year or so for breeding, but she's been one of my greatest birds for years, and kind of a really, not the most dynamic bird in the world, but always shows up, catches game almost every day. And so anyway, a real steady bird. And,
yeah. Sometimes 3 or 4 jackrabbits in a day, for example. So really, really a good bird. So some of the things that we selectively breed for are for appetite, because a hungry bird that is always hungry can be flown at a higher weight and can be fitter. And we like tameness, a bird that's really easy to handle. And we actually train them so that we can handle them and just tuck them under our arms, because we're flying usually 2 to 4 at a time. And, you know, when they catch a rabbit or something, we've got to be able to control the ones that aren't on the rabbit and keep them from getting on it, that kind of stuff. So, and also if something goes wrong, then it's really better to be able to put the bird under your arm. So that, my bird hurt her wing yesterday, and I had to tuck her under my arm to take her out of the field with rabbits flushing by that she wanted to catch, you know, but that way she doesn't do further damage to her wing. So anyway, we hope that those of you who get the book really enjoy it and learn a lot from it.
Bye-bye.
So the reason this went from a purely Harris Hawk book review to something a little bit spanning various genres of falconry is because of this author. I was going to pick 2 or 3 of his main Harris Hawk books, and then I thought, you know what, if you want to get a book for Christmas, there's a good choice here. So I'm going to start with stuff out there, random, and we're going to work our way through very quickly some of Martin Hollisheads' books. I think I've got all of his books. I absolutely love his writing style. Very informative, very interesting. Excuse the glare. Everywhere I've tried to light this, there's a lighting glare. Memoirs of a Hunter. Not really falconry, but if you love the great outdoors, you're old like me and you remember reading adventure books as a kid, whether you agree on hunting or these forms of hunting, it's not about that. It's about pastimes and really that excitement of adventure. Really, really, really entertaining book to read, and certainly makes you think about how soft and easy the Western world is nowadays compared to how harsh and tough people could survive, certainly in cold extremes, which I personally cannot stand the cold. I really am rubbish in the cold, even though pike fishing and falconry for many, many, many decades has been my thing. Winter pastimes. The Last Wolf Hunter, kind of moving from that theme, but it's really about one man's passion for flying golden eagles, learning to fly golden eagles without any knowledge of falconry or help whatsoever, and yet he became someone that specialised in hunting wolves back in the day with golden eagles. Now, remarkable things in there. One thing I think that stands out, he says he never had to dispatch a wolf and help the eagle. It always worked out how to do it swiftly and quickly without getting injured, which when you think about it, even a huge 10-pound or even 11-pound golden eagle against a wolf. Another notable thing in this book is he looks back and then reached a point like most hunters do as he gets old, and he said, I could never do it again. And there's quite harrowing and sad bits in the book as well, but fascinating hunting books there for sure. And then we go on and we learn a bit about actual golden eagle falconry back in the day as it developed in Germany, sort of pre and post World War II really. Another really fascinating, interesting book that gives you great insight into how Western eagle falconry is developed. Sort of going over here again on a similar sort of theme, looking a bit back at the early days of eagle falconry really, not here in the UK, but in this sort of our part of the world. Golden eagles, if you're going to get a golden eagle, I think this is the instruction manual that's been written. Any falconry book, I've said this on many reviews, any falconry book, as you mature into your particular falconry, there'll be things you agree with, yes, that's how I do things, or that sounds brilliant, and things you think, yeah, I wouldn't do that personally, I've got this way of doing it, and I prefer this way. This book has some absolute nuggets of information. This is one of Martin's earliest works. He printed and published most of the books himself under his guise of the Fernhill Press. This was before that, but a really, really good early work of Martin's. I think the thing that all stands out to me, I don't fly an imprint golden eagle. I prefer parent-reared, personally parent-reared hunting birds. But one thing that stands out with golden eagles is their possessive aggression over their kills, especially as young birds that they've not sort of created that really good bond with you yet. And a really good thing that stands out for sure, highly recommended, when you start training your young eagle on a carcass, when it catches a carcass lure, you don't just leave it and make it on it. You give that bird a bit of a battle on that lure, because that way it learns two things. Prey doesn't just drop dead when it catches it, and number two, it's concentrating on directing its aggression at its prey to kill its prey at the end of the day, not on you approaching to help it. Really interesting book, well worth a read and getting a copy. And then we're going to flip now over to different birds of prey. So we're going from hawking ground quarry, that's going to cover your Harris's hawks, but it also touches on other hawks up to the size of golden eagles that take basically rabbits and hares predominantly. There's other chapters in there. Another really good falconry book, well worth a read. These books all teach you stuff. You might not agree with every chapter, you will learn so much about them. And I think really we're going to come now to some books. If you are a Harris's hawker and you haven't got these books, get these in your Christmas stocking, put in an order. If you can't find these books brand new, go on places like Kuchibondu Books or Amazon and see what you can find as brand new or nearly new copies. They're not expensive books. Really, really good books. Complete Rabbit and Hare Hawk really sort of goes into detail of why the Harris's hawk is such an amazing and different species. Here we're talking a little bit more about stories of Martin flying his Harris's hawks, anecdotal stories, interesting fun. We're packed full of information and advice and tips that are really going to help you. And over here as well, another book with chapters really helping you and teaching you about falconry with various birds of prey. And Martin is always biased on golden eagles and a Harris's hawk for sure. And Martin Hollisheads, any of these titles will entertain you on Christmas Day for a damn good read. Highly recommended. Even things that are offbeat from falconry, like this book here. But if you fly Harris's hawks and you're passionate about them, you have to have this book on your shelves. It's just immense. Worth every penny. Read it cover to cover. You'll learn so much stuff. Now, due to the very nature of the Harris's hawk, there are many other books written about training Harris's hawks, keeping Harris's hawks, and so on and so forth. Yes, I know people slate me for saying Harris's hawks. It's a habit I've got because it's what they're actually called. It interchanges, of course. Harris's hawks, Harris hawks. It rolls off my tongue as Harris's hawks. Don't be offended if you find that some kind of weird snobbery or something like that. There's many books written about Harris hawks. There you go. Some brilliant, many I haven't read. Bob Dalton, indeed, he's wrote books about Harris hawks. Haven't got them on my shelves. I can't review them. There is a book on my shelves called The Harris Hawk by another author. it's a book that's one of the worst books I've ever read in falconry, but I'm not going to do anything. This channel's about positivity, isn't it? So there are books I can say, yeah, don't buy that one, but I'm not going to. I'm going to review the stuff positively, and if it's something I don't want to review positively, it'll miss the boat. With all these book reviews, I'll just not review it. I don't want to diss or be negative to people. That's not what this channel's about. As always, you guys, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you can. Yes, there's different genres. It's not all falconry, but we're really getting into the stretch of this thing now, and it's going to be almost every week. There's going to be a falconry thing, a falconry video put out. That's going to be always, or nearly always on a... Do you know what? I'm going to start again. So, every week we're going to try and get out a falconry video of some sort and description. My head is full of them. The subject matter's endless. And that's usually, if not always, going to be on a Friday evening. Enjoy, subscribe, it massively helps. Thanks so much, you guys. I need a cup of tea now.